Hello everyone, welcome back to day 10 of Spoiler Talk for Commander Legends. We have a fair few good cards to get to. Definitely feel like we're getting to the end of it now because we're completing a load of cycles. Let's give you a quick overview of some of the stuff we're going to be going through. Good to see Viscera Seer reprint. Good to see Muldrotha in-etched. Ooh, that's so nice. It's so nice. But let's get into the individual cards. So first of all, we're going to talk about Glacian Power Stone Engineer. 5 and a blue for legendary creature Human Artificer. It is a 3/6. You can tap it and tap X. Untapped artifacts you control. Look at the top X cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. It also has Partner. So it seems decent card advantage. You only need to tap one to draw a card. It is 6 mana, but then you can start drawing cards, getting value later in the game. This seems like a good support commander just in general, but it seems quite good with all the treasure tokens that are kind of going around. Like you can't sack them the same turn you tap them because I believe you have to tap a treasure in order to actually get the mana from it. But if you're just making them earlier in the game with some of the other pirates, which we've seen in blue, we've seen some in red as well. Use them for card advantage later on in the game. That seems decent. I like that. That seems fun. Dig yourself towards an answer in a game of limited. I think that would be quite cool. All right, cracking on to a mythic. We have Hellcat Courser, 4 red for a creature dragon. Is a 6/5 with flying. When Hellcat Courser enters the battlefield, you may put a commander you own from the command zone onto the battlefield. It gains haste. Return to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step. So it seems pretty good. You kind of want to play this with a commander that has like good ETB effects that you can kind of get out a bit earlier, or get out multiple times. So the thing with this is, I'm kind of wondering, do you want to play this in a deck where the commander's more expensive than this to get it out for a turn, get it to swing? Possibly, but what other big red things are there? There's so I'm kind of wondering if this goes in my Karthus deck personally, but it gets out one turn earlier, and then you still have to pay it the next turn. If you can flicker it, then that's really good, obviously, because you're just going to keep bringing back the commander. I'm sure I'm missing a line which makes this really, really powerful. Any kind of good ETB effects will be really strong with this kind of thing. I'm just checking what Marath does, because I know Marath was... maybe go Marath. One of the etched foils we've seen today. But yeah, card seems cool. Big dumb mythic, will kill people in limited. It's a 6/5 flyer after all. Okay, next we have Dawn Glade Regent. 5 green for a creature elk. It is an 8/8 and it has... When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. As long as you are the monarch, permanents you control have hexproof. So giving your stuff hexproof is pretty good. Am I being too greedy to want this to have trample, or to have trample, not trample, what is trample? To have some kind of trample effect. By that I mean trample. It's an 8/8, so it should keep you as the monarch, which is good. But I personally don't think this is as good as like Regal Behemoth from Conspiracy 2, which was cheaper. You became the monarch. I think that did have trample, and I mean, I'll keep before the monarch. You can put a land into play, which is more in line with kind of what green decks want to do normally. But then green also wants to play a 7 mana 8/8 that draws you a card. So this will see play. This is pretty good still. If you're in the kind of prison style deck, so there's like there are Bant Enchantress decks which want to play a load of effects which stop players attacking you. I can see it's being played in that because like in like Tavassa or like an Enchantress style build where you're playing like Propaganda and all the white versions of that, it's very difficult for people to attack you. So maybe this is the top end in that deck, so that you just get extra card advantage and then you have an 8/8 and all stuff has hexproof. That seems pretty good. It's like the hexproof is another, like that deck will run asceticism anyway. This is another effect for that. So it seems pretty good in that, and well, yeah, it's good in some other things as well. Okay, next we have a Chroma's Will. 3 and a white for an instant. It's another one of these ones that cares about having your commander out. If you control a commander, as you cast a spell, you may choose both. Creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike until end of turn, and creatures you control gain creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colours until end of turn. So this is kind of dumb. This is one where you don't actually need to get both sides off for it to be good. One is much more aggressive, one is much more defensive, but to be fair, giving your creatures lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colours will still mean they'll get through and you'll gain a ton of life. So it can still be used on the offense, but primarily that's more like that works against like board wipes and that kind of stuff. If you cast this before blockers are declared, this is effectively White's version of Overrun. The double strike will do a decent representation of that. And if they're protection from all colours, they're not going to your opponents won't be able to block them. This card is very, very good, and this is it's not exactly it, but this is probably better than one overrun effect. Whether it's as good as like a Crater Hoof effect, we shall see. The double strike is very, very good. Like, it does a lot of things. Talking of a card that does a lot of things, she's back. A Chroma Vision of Ixidor. 5 blue. I don't know what's going on with me today. 5 white for a legendary creature angel. It is a 6/6 with partner. She has flying, first strike, vigilance, trample. I'm going to take a sip of this before I read the rest of it because there's quite a lot to go. At the beginning of each combat, until end of turn, each other creature you control gets +1/+1 if it has flying, +1/+1 if it has first strike, and so on for double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, protection, reach, trample, vigilance, and partner. So this is like keyword soup that buffs all your stuff for having said keywords. So if you're playing this as a commander, this is great with like Odric, Lunac, Marshall. Is this another good partner for Kamal? Is Kamal just really good? Is this card also really good? If you partner with this Kamal, if you partner this with Kamal, all your creatures get +3/+3 and trample. So when they're with this, they'll get another +1/+1. That's just a very base smashy face deck. I'm sure there's some other cool stuff you can do. The obvious one, and I'm kind of don't really want to say it because it's relatively obvious, and like this Boros aggro or a Boros style smashy face deck or a Boros equipment deck is obviously going to work really well with this. A load of the creatures you run in those kind of decks have double strike or first strike or some kind of extra abilities, and the equipment you put on them gives them those extra abilities as well. So obviously this goes well in that. That's not something that I wanted to see. Like I'm fine with it having more support, but again, I wanted something white to do a bit more than just kind of suit up creatures with equipment and smash face. This is very good at that, don't get me wrong, but I would have liked to see something a bit different. But I'm personally a really big fan of a Chroma. Chroma was like the first big card I opened when I started playing when I was younger, like first one from a pack. Was it in Legions or Scared or like one Onslaught, one of those blocks. Yeah, really good in Limited, original Chroma, and this one will be too, so hoping to get one. It seems fun. Okay, next we're going to go down the power level a little bit with Ingenuity Engine, 7 mana for an artifact with Cascade, and then 1 and tap it, sacrifice an artifact, return target artifact you control to its owner's hand. So this is a lot of mana for not much. Getting the Cascade is the cost of Cascade is normally like 1 or 2 extra mana to buff up a card, which you probably wanted to be playing anyway. The Cascade makes it cost 1 or 2 mana extra, so you get some extra value from it when it comes into play, or sorry, when you cast it. If this was 2 mana cheaper or 3 mana cheaper, would you play this card? Maybe, but very niche decks. This might even be too expensive for the Cascade deck, depending on how much ramp you have. There is some kind of sacrifice artifact stuff, and like this is I think the main one the first one we've seen, which returns stuff. If I'm not mistaken, there may be one stable to a legendary, which I may have spoken about, but it's been a long couple of weeks. I think this will be fine at best, fine to bad in Limited. There may be some combo potential with this, but if there is, it's combining it with better cards. Like this with Scroll Rack is obviously good, but then any Cascade card with Scroll Rack is going to be good. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I think the Artifact deck is still coming together. Not sure what all the pieces are of that yet. So when we see a bit more, I know there's only a few more days, but we might be seeing a few more bits to actually make this card be good. Okay, next we have Elvis Doomsayer, 1 and a black for a creature elf shaman. It is a 1/1. When Elvis Doomsayer dies, each opponent discards a card. So this is the reverse of Elvish Visionary. Wanted to mention it because it's cool. Like what they're doing. All the elf black support is really fun. Yeah, it's going to go in my Tiny Bones deck probably, just as a blocker that people don't want to attack me for because they're going to have to discard cards and give me more value. This will be a fine pawn of Limited, I think. It's probably not good enough for regular discard decks, actually, I think, because there's a lot of rats which you get them on ETB, which means you're going to be guaranteed it. But the fact that this makes your opponents less likely to attack you might actually make it playable. I guess we'll see. Okay, next we have some awesome art from Seth McKinnon. Feast of Succession, 4 black for a sorcery. All creatures get -4/-1 until end of turn, and you become the Monarch. So this is the perfect type of board wipe for this limited format. Outside of that, if you're playing the Monarch-style decks, then you might want to play this. But generally speaking, the Languish isn't good enough, and I don't think stapling Monarch onto this and making it more expensive means it's going to be that playable outside of limited. But from going through the set, there isn't a ton of removal and there isn't a ton of board wipe, so this will be a higher pick than you might think, I would say. We'll see how relevant the 4 toughness is to making this card good, but at least it looks sweet, so it does have that. Okay, next we're going to crack on to Pride of the Perfect. 3 and a black for an enchantment. Elves you control get +2/+0. So this is a relatively decent example that Elves is going to be an aggro deck, actually, in this format. Yeah, this seems a fine buff. You play this if you're in an Elf deck. There's a ton of black support for Elves in this set. Hoping to brew something soon, because that looks really fun. Or either brew something new, or I might do a deck tech on my Sultai Elves deck. On my Sultai Elves deck, and update it with some of the cool new cards. Talking of cool new elf cards, we have Mayara, Thorn of the Glade. 1 and a black for a legendary creature Elf Scout is a 1/2 with partner. When Mayara, Thorn of the Glade, or another elf you control dies, you may pay 1 and 1 life. If you do, draw a card. So these kind of effects I really do like, because the biggest drawback to playing a tribal deck is you basically putting all these bits into play, and then when they're in play, that's when you have a commanding presence. If you get board wiped, you're kind of screwed, because of all the effort you put into building all your cards, all your synergies kind of go. This at least makes it less bad, if that makes sense. So if you have spare mana, just pay it, draw some lives, draw some cards, don't worry about the life loss, greed and all that kind of stuff. I think this will be limited as well, because obviously the elves looking like they're really heavily supported in Golgari. But outside of that, I think this probably isn't strong enough to have it as the commander of a black-green deck. Although maybe you can... Oh, actually, no, the more I'm thinking about it, if there is there might be a partner with that makes tokens, and then you do kind of get yourself this little engine of drawing cards, losing life, just churning through your deck. That could actually be quite fun. So, maybe there's something to brew with this. Maybe there's something to brew. It's got the mind thinking. Okay, next we have Quain Travelling Meddler. White and a blue for a legendary creature, Rapid Wizard. It is a 1/3. Each player has the activate ability to tap it. Each player may draw a card, then each player who drew a card this way gains 1 life. So this is like the White Rabbit, I guess, from Alice in Wonderland. I am assuming is the way they're going with this. Group Hug, I guess. That's the kind of deck that wants this, that wants to play this. I haven't seen... So there's the Vowels. So, yeah, there's the Vow cycle we've seen, which is technically Group Hug. Maybe they are trying to make Group Hug in either white, blue, or maybe Bant. Maybe Bant in the limited format. This could see some play in that deck. Yeah, fun if you like rabbits. I'm assuming this is the first Rabbit Wizard we've ever seen, unless I'm missing something. But yeah, seems fun. Okay, going up in the power level a little bit, we have Soul of Eternity, 5 white for a star creature avatar. Soul of Eternity's power and toughness are equal to your life total. It also has Encore for 7 white. So this is kind of big and kind of stupid. I wish it would obviously be too good if it had evasion or even lifelink. Would that be push it too far? This is going to be really good, obviously, in limited, and could be fun outside of it. Like if you're in a life gain deck, there are probably other effects like this, but the fact it has Encore means that in those style of decks, if you have so much life and someone board wipes, or you board wipe specifically, if you're in a controlling life gaining build, this goes to the graveyard. No one has anything. You pick off the last bits of creatures, something like that, and then you just Encore this back and kill everyone out of nowhere, or not out of nowhere because they've seen it coming because it's in the graveyard. But in that kind of build, I think this could be very strong. Outside of that, if you're just getting life without the ability to clear out all the blockers because it doesn't have evasion, this might see less play, but it's a big, dumb, avatar, cool creature, so why not? Okay, next we have Body of Knowledge. 3 blue for a creature avatar. It is a star. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. While it's in play, you have no maximum hand size. Whenever Body of Knowledge is dealt damage, draw that many cards. I quite like this deck. I quite like this card. I obviously want to give it indestructible, block for days. It might go in like a Pinger style deck where you can reliably deal it damage yourself. Does this go in the Rock Thrower deck. You know, the goblin that when you landfall, make a rock. Throw it at this, draw a card. That's not the end of the world. Oh, no, draw that many cards. I think they deal 2 damage. Ooh. That's pretty good. That's pretty spicy. We like that. Outside of that, there's plenty of decks that care about drawing loads of cards. Like, maybe this goes in Edric as just like a blocker. Something like that, where like you're windfalling quite a lot. I don't know. The having no maximum hand size, it does. The decks that want redundancy in that, and having this on defense might not be that bad. So, seems a good card. There are decks that I wanted. A lot of these cards are going to go through are very niche and have things that certain decks will want. That's kind of one of the joys of Commander, is that some cards are good in some decks, some cards are terrible in some decks, but every card has the option to shine. So let's see if this one does. Next we have Bellewalker. Good name, Bellewalker. Spectral Sergeant. 2 red-white for legendary creature, Spirit Soldier. It is a star 5. Note the converted mana cost of each card as is put into exile. Bellewalker's Spectral Sergeant's power is equal to the greatest number noted for it this turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. So, the bottom line of text is the one that's got me most excited, because it is card advantage in Boros, which is good. Like, that makes it very interesting for me. Like, that means in Limited, I'm perfectly fine having this as my commander, because I'm drawing that extra card every turn. That I like. I wonder how big you can make its power. What's the biggest thing you can path to exile? There's probably a ton of other stuff that you can do. So, probably some of the Chandras let you exile stuff, and then you can cast them. It's the way Red is getting card draw nowadays. The impulse style card draw, like you can draw a card, but you have to play it now, otherwise you lose it. That kind of thing. So there's probably a build for this, which is quite powerful, but it is still in the Boros-y, aggro-y style range. But hopefully there's some cool stuff you can do. Like, maybe you could this with Fling or something like that, but then you still have to get it back. I don't know. This is still very much in Boros' wheelhouse. I still think the best card that's come from this in that kind of effect is Arden, which I love that card. It's got so much play. There's more interesting things you can do with it. This might have some interesting lines that I'm missing, but it looks like another beta in Boros, which they have plenty of, if I'm honest with you. Excuse me. Next we have Captain Vargas Era. Blue and a red for a legendary creature, Orc Pirate. When Captain Vargas Era attacks, pirates you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. For each time you've cast a commander from the command zone this game. So by itself, this comes down and buffs your pirates for 1. For +1/+1, and then it scales as the games go through. So that's pretty good. This is obviously fine in the pirate tribal deck or as a pirate tribal commander. This uncommon very much looks like the one of Europe. If you're in the pirate deck and you don't get anything in your colours, you would be fine playing this. The pirate deck at its base core seems pretty aggro-y. If you don't open any legendaries, which with the amount going around seems kind of unlikely, you might be able to put a partner combination together a bit. It does a few more things, but the fact that always having this means that you could be a very consistent aggro-y deck with the pirates with this card, so that could be fun. The fact that he'll probably die when he gets into combat isn't the end of the world, because he buffs based on how many times he's died. So keep swinging, keep getting him in there, get that beef through. Cool. Okay, ooh, look at this lad. We have Jared Karthillion, True Heir. He is red, green, and a white for a legendary creature, Human Warrior. He is a 3/3. When Jared Karthillion enters the battlefield, target opponent becomes the monarch. You can't become the monarch this turn. If damage would be dealt to him while you're the monarch, prevent that damage and put that many +1 counters on it. So I don't know too much about the lore of this character, but the flavour on the card is really good. The flavour text is, "I'm here for what's mine." So obviously, someone else is the ruler, is the king or queen, and he wants to take it back. That kind of flavour is quite cool. I quite like this. This is kind of like a politics style deck. You make someone a target, and then you suit this up with Val, and then you can kind of turn people on that player because they're the monarch until you become the monarch yourself, until you become the ruler. That seems kind of cool. Again, maybe this is the commander for the vowels, for the effects where you put them on other people's creatures, and then they can start swinging and getting in and that kind of stuff. But then their creatures can't attack you. That seems pretty good. And then once you are the monarch, this creature will very quickly help you to stay them on it because he's not going to be taking damage. So that's pretty cool. There's quite a bit of play with this. I think this could be fun. I think in Limited, this is going to be one of the fun ones to build around because, generally speaking, people do undervalue the Valve cycle. They put an effect on someone's creature, it buffs it, but it can't attack you. Because in Commander, like, creatures die a lot. There's board wipes, and you're getting less value from it. But with this set, there's a lot less removal, and there's a lot less board wipes that are going to be in the Limited format. So creatures are going to be sticking around, and they're going to be attacking more. So this, in this set, does seem really fun. And also, look at that luscious head of hair. This man could easily be the lead singer of Manowar or something like that. Sick. Okay, next we have Court of Ire. 3 red for an enchantment. This is the, I think, the final one in this cycle, the Court cycle. When Court of Ire enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Pretty standard there. As you become at the beginning of your upkeep, Court of Ire deals 2 damage to any target. If you're the Monarch, it deals 7 damage to that player or permanent instead. So 7 damage is a lot of mana. I get the feeling in red, though, that you're less likely to remain the commander than in something like maybe white or green, I guess, because they have like tax effects or their creatures are just huge. There are some big creatures in red, so don't get me wrong, this could happen. But for red specifically, it's good to have the card draw. Like, that's good. There's plenty of hasty creatures in red, so you can swing through, like, there's token makers, so you can go wide. So the chances of you getting it back are pretty high, and if you can start flinging around 7 damage, then that's pretty sweet. We like it. Actually, one thing just to touch on, I guess, is I'm not sure if I've spoken about this, but the thing with Monarch is it's quite good with Planeswalkers, because Monarch incentivizes you to your opponents to attack you. But if you have Planeswalkers out, they can just sit there upticking, basically. So we haven't seen too many in this set, apart from like the legendary partners, but run them with Monarch, because then you make your opponents have, like, when you have the Monarch and you have a Planeswalker upticking, there isn't really a good scenario for your opponent there. It's lesser of 2 evils, basically, and making your opponents make that choice is good for you, because they might make a mistake. They might go for the Planeswalker, and then you keep the card draw, and then you start flinging 7 damage at them. They might attack you rather than the Planeswalker, and then your Planeswalker ultimates or some stuff like that. So there's some cool lines. With Monarch. Excuse me, my throat is... Oh, it's not very good today, hence the lemon. There is chili in this. It's spicy. But we have 2 more cards to get through, so let's crack on. Next we have Guildless Commons. It is a land. Guildless Commons enter the battlefield tapped. When Guildless Commons enter the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, and it taps for 2 colourless mana. So this is a colourless bounce land. The bounce lands are really good. They're really good budget cards. Especially, I feel they've got better with the Sultai Turtle, which means they come into play untapped. So that's pretty fun. Obviously, you would want to play this in that deck, although the 3 colours might make it a bit more difficult. But I wonder if this means we're going to be seeing... We haven't really seen a common or uncommon land cycle in this set, if I'm not mistaken. We've seen the rare ones. We haven't seen a common or uncommon one. I would imagine with the amount of 3 colour spells going around, that's something they want to at least support. I think they will at least have a cycle of 2 colour lands just so people can fix their mana and play their spells. Because they don't, in Commander especially, you don't want the feel bads of no one being able to, or someone not being able to do things. We've seen Terramorphic Expanse, which was kind of, and I think Evolving was, which was kind of expected. But if the bounce lands are our common or uncommon cycle of lands, I'll be perfectly happy with that. I think they're all really good. Last card of the day, Impulsive Thief. It is a red for a creature goblin pirate. It is a 1/1. When Impulsive Thief dies, create a treasure token. It has Encore, 3 and a red. So this is obviously good in the red artifact deck in the set. I guess it goes in Broodclad in the wild. Like that cares about token makers. Actually, probably a lot of the cards that make treasure tokens will go in Broodclad now I think about it. And obviously in the pirate deck, you'll find playing this out. It's basically a battery. You'll find trading this off early to prevent some damage, or maybe swinging in for some damage, and then you get the ramp. It's basically... Is this... No. This is obviously not as good as Sakura Tri-Belder, but it is in red, and red doesn't get ramped that often. So this may see more play than people might think. I don't know. As I said, these are hot takes. They aren't necessarily correct takes. Cool. So let's just crack over to the. Thank you for sticking with me. It is much appreciated. So yeah, cracking back over to here. Good to see Sol Ring announced. I'm assuming we all thought that was going to be in here. Is this going to be pack one, pick one? Interesting. Do you just take the Sol Ring to make your deck work, just to get out that extra bit of ramp? Marith was one of the lands. Was one of the creatures for today. Good to see Viscera Seer. Good to see them acknowledging Viscera Seer is a commander staple. That's probably going up there in price. Good to see it get reprinted. Also, this Swords to Plowshares art I love. I was looking at getting one of these for my cube just because I really like the artwork personally. It does look a bit like he's swinging a golf club, but I'm still fine with that. I think it's cool, and good to know that I'll be able to get one pretty cheaply now. And again, oh yes, Moldratha. We love Moldratha. Sweet. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Spoiler season, a couple more days to go. Ton of fun. We'll probably do maybe a live thing on the weekend to go over the set. I don't know. We'll see how the setup works. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. Some deck techs have come out the last couple of days. They've been doing really well. Thank you all very much for your support. It's really, really appreciated. And I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.